What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction, and this one we have 7 priorities for India's government in 2025 with Vantage with Palki Sharma. I'm very intrigued to see what priorities the India government has. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy it, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and let's dive right in.
What's on your bucket list for 2025? Maybe that dream holiday, or getting in shape, or learning a new musical instrument. The new year is the best
I feel
time
that.
to make a list of
Getting in shape for sure.
So we thought, why not do the same for India? We've got 7 items on this list. Things
Let's do it.
think should be on the government's mind this year.
Okay.
The first is normalizing cryptocurrency. Let's face it, the crypto bros had the last laugh in 2024. Bitcoin crossed $100,000 after Donald Trump won.
God.
He's got big plans for cryptocurrency. He wants to turn the US into the world's crypto capital.
Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say, it's going to the moon.
We're not saying do the same in India, but at least do more. Right now, crypto profits are taxed at 30%, which is a lot higher than stocks. So the government is basically saying, be careful here. Be wary of cryptocurrency. That attitude certainly needs to change. Crypto may not replace currencies, but it has become an increasingly accepted form of investment. So it's time to normalize it. Of course, that also means appointing a regulator, a headmaster, to keep things tidy. Right now, crypto is regulated by virtually everyone, by the Reserve Bank of India, by the Securities and Exchange Board or SEBI, and by the Finance Ministry. I'm afraid that won't cut it. You need a dedicated regulator to build confidence, preferably someone who doesn't have to Google what is cryptocurrency. Item number 2 is
I feel that. I don't know too much about cryptocurrency. I'm not someone that would have to Google what is cryptocurrency, so I can't really give, I guess, an opinion on the matter because I'm just not educated enough on the topic. What else we got?
Building up air defenses. We kept hearing about Israel's Iron Dome last year. Does India need one of those? Well, our country is 300 times bigger than Israel, so a dome may not be practical, but we do need more air defenses. Recently, India has started buying such systems from outside, like the Barak and Spider from Israel and the S-400 from Russia. Some air defenses are also being built at home, like the Akash and Prithvi. But 2 things to keep in mind here. The first is the quantity. You saw the aerial attacks from Iran last year. It wasn't 1 or 2 drones, it was literally hundreds of them. So you need air defenses in bulk, something that the Air Force Chief has also pointed out.
कॉम्बिनेशन जो है इसका मिला के हमारे पास जो एयर डिफेंस वेपन सिस्टम होंगे वो फेयरली कॉम्पिटेंट होंगे, लेकिन ये बात सही है नंबर्स हमको बहुत ज़्यादा चाहिए होंगे इन टर्म्स अगर हमें सब कुछ प्रोटेक्ट करना है.
Second, you need to be smart about it. Countries are firing dirt cheap weapons nowadays. An Iranian drone costs around $2,000. Do you really want to shoot it down with $1 million weapon?
No.
It's not viable for a country like India. We don't have allies giving us billions in military aid. Our defense budget is mostly salaries and pensions. So it's important to be smart and strategic. And speaking of strategy, do you know who wrote India's National Security Strategy Doctrine? You don't, because we don't have one. And that is item number 3. India should...
So number 2, boost air defenses. And I think as the economy continues to grow for India, more money that will be able to go to the defense industry. And for sure, you'll be able to boost air defense. But yeah, I feel like that's definitely huge when it comes to a country such as India. I mean, especially when you got kind of almost, it seems like 2 enemies on both sides of you.
Codify its national security doctrine. Most of the big powers already do it. The US, the UK, Japan, Russia, all of them publish and update their national security doctrine. Think of it as a guidebook. It tells you what your interests are, what are your biggest threats, who are your partners, and what is your approach to long-term security. India has tried to make such a document multiple times, the most recent being in 2018. But each time the effort failed. Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar was asked about the need for such a document. His response, if I tell you, I have to kill you.
Every country has its own way of communication, its own way of policy formulation. Because somebody else puts out a document every 3 years or 4 years and says that is my national security, it is not necessary I follow that model. I could have it, I could tell you that it exists, but I have to kill you if I tell you.
I
can tell you it exists, but I gotta kill you if I tell you, so you don't want to know.
The upside, but the downside is confusion. A written policy makes it easier for different agencies to make decisions. It puts everyone on the same page.
That's
I'll give an
understandable.
example. Last year, India's finance ministry called for more investments from China. It said we cannot shut off Chinese businesses. The same year, India's defense ministry issued a directive. It said, do not use Chinese parts and drones.
Oh.
Now, if you follow geopolitics, the differences may be obvious. But if you don't, it can be confusing. A written national security policy could avoid such confusions. It would also add continuity to decision making. Next is item number 4.
So I feel like you definitely got to jump on that 100%. Just because I feel like it's definitely a government, everybody needs to be on the same page, like everybody to get that. But I feel like Modi will definitely get that handle. It seems like his government is on the same page. So let's jump to number 4.
India is officially bidding for the 2036 Olympics. I know it's 11 years away, but for an event like this, 11 years is nothing. Because it takes time to build world-class facilities. Right now, only 10% of India's sporting infrastructure meets the Olympic standard. So major upgrades are necessary. And this is after you win the bid. To win, you need to make a strong case. You must showcase your cultural heritage, you must invest in grassroots sports, and you must present an impressive plan. All of this starts with good infrastructure. Just look at the 2028 Los Angeles Games. The city is not building a new games village. Instead, athletes will stay at the University of California, and they're not building dozens of new stadiums. They are refitting venues used by local football clubs.
There you go.
That is the future of the Olympics. Not massive Colosseum-style stadiums, but multi-purpose structures of the highest quality. And speaking
that only makes sense because you don't want to build something massive and gigantic for the Olympics when that's only like a one-time event in 4 years, and for each country, right? You may put your bid and you might not see the Olympics again for the next 20, 30 years, and now you got this massive infrastructure that you don't know what to do with. So it only makes sense for a multi-purpose infrastructure. That way you're not losing. It's not just a massive infrastructure just sitting there losing money when the Olympics isn't in the country.
Quality. Item number 5 is education. We keep hearing about India's demographic dividend, but that dividend depends on the quality of our population. Let's look at the numbers first. Around 24% of our population is under 14 years of age. That's around 330 million children. If we train and educate them, great. We'll have a strong workforce for the coming decades.
Facts.
But if we don't, it could drag our growth story down. So 2 things must be done on priority. The first is spending more. We spend around 4% of our GDP on education. The target should be around 6%. This money can be used to upgrade our schools. We're talking better services, cheaper meals, more teachers. Apparently, there are 1 million teaching vacancies in Indian schools. You need to pay well to fill them up.
Facts.
This money can also be used for education loans. You see, most Indian colleges are now private, which means you need to pay a higher fee. If you cannot afford that, you could try for an education loan. Just one problem.
That's nice.
Only 4% of India's higher education students have availed a loan. Experts talk
only
about
4%?
Like higher interest rates or unfair eligibility criteria or long drawn-out application times. Perhaps the government could ease things out for them. Which brings us to the second priority, that is the quality of education. There is an urgent need to revamp the syllabus. We are seeing new technologies like artificial intelligence and 6G. It is important to add that to the syllabus to gear education towards jobs. If not, you will have educated unemployment. In fact, that is the situation right now. Jobless rate for graduates is almost 30%. But it's only 3.4% for people who cannot read or write, which is simply unacceptable. Education should be an asset, not a liability.
Alright, that 29%, I don't know if it's like maybe they're not taking certain jobs because they feel like they went to school and there's certain jobs that they want to go after. But 29% of jobless, educated people is crazy compared to 3% of unemployed people who don't have that higher education.
The last 2 items. Number 6 is reaching out to Africa. That is the missing piece in India's foreign policy. Africa is home to resources worth trillions of dollars. This includes strategic minerals like cobalt, nickel and manganese. These can be used for making semiconductors and batteries. which is why there's a race for Africa. China, Europe, America, all of them are looking to secure their interests. India too has a sizable footprint, but a lot more needs to be done.
Okay.
India and Africa started a summit back in 2008. It was supposed to be held every 3 years, but the last one was held in 2015. Since then, no summit has been held with Africa.
10 years ago.
In 9 years.
Dang.
Guess how many China held in this time? 4 summits. And this shows in trade numbers too. China's trade with Africa is $282 billion. India's trade is just $100 billion. So the first priority is to hold that summit, to show Africa that India is interested.
Yeah.
And the focus should go beyond just pumping money. Because let's face it, if it's a battle of wallets, India cannot beat China or the US. So New Delhi should offer something extra. For example, it's lessons on digital economy, or paperless delivery of government schemes, or electronic payment systems like the UPI, or even healthcare services. India is known as the pharmacy of the world, and Africa faces medicine and vaccine shortages. It's a challenge that India should take on. Thankfully, New Delhi seems up for it. We saw an indication of that at the 2023 G20 summit. India led the push to give permanent membership to the African Union. That move has given us a lot of goodwill in the continent. The key is to build on that. Which brings us to our final item.
So investment in Africa is going to be a big one. And I would have thought that India is continuing to invest in Africa and continuing to create a larger footprint. But I didn't know China's $282 billion in trade. God dang.
Something Indians have been asking for a long time. It's also something that ordinary Indians deserve. A tax cut.
I feel that.
Consumer spending has fallen since the pandemic. As a result, GDP growth also fell. The projection was 7% in the last quarter, but the actual rate was 5.4%.
Oh.
If you want to kickstart spending, you need a tax break. And it's only fair. Less than 2% of Indians actually pay income tax, which is the salaried middle class, and they're also paying GST along with others. It's too much pressure on one group, especially when their employers have it so good. I'm talking about Indian corporates. They're making more money than ever. Yet income tax collection is higher than corporate tax collection. Imagine that. Ordinary taxpayers are contributing more than companies. How do you expect people to have disposable income? How do you expect them to spend more? The way we see it, a tax cut is the best bet. Let's see if the government agrees when the budget comes out. But frankly, some of these other items are non-negotiable. It's about national security, about the future of our children, and also our livelihoods. Ideally, they shouldn't wait until the new year to work on these, but if a to-do list helps, why not?
Facts. So it sounds like those are the 7 things that the Indian government should prioritize in 2025. Tell me what you guys think about that video. Which one you think is the most important priority, and do you think the Indian government will prioritize these 7 things on the list? If you enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and check out the next one. I'll see y'all next time.